Hey folks, this is Florida Night Train here. I am privileged and honored to have accomplished businesswoman here and actress Krista Grotte Saxon. Is that how we pronounce your name?
Yes.
Krista?
Very good.
Krista is the star of Nations Fire, the movie, which you can watch for free on Amazon Prime, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So Krista, I hope the ride on the night train was okay.
Oh man, I had a great ride on the night train. We had a lot of fun. So I lost my hat, waved at helicopters, flew over the bridge, hit the bumps. It was wonderful. Thank you.
Good. How is Sterling, your sweet and dopey pooch?
He's doing really good.
Yeah?
Yeah. He probably forgot I'm gone. So
He did forget?
Yeah,
Really?
He's really dopey. So I can leave for 5 minutes, I come back in, and then he jumps around acting like, I've been gone for like hours. It's hilarious. So.
The movie Nations Fire, among many others, you were part of, is particularly important to you, isn't it?
Yes.
Not only has it been labeled as your bid to stardom by the critics, but in my opinion, it's a biker movie, yes, but it's so much more than a biker movie.
It is. It's a lot more than a biker
Right?
movie.
What makes the movie different to you? What was it about this movie that is catalytic for you in your life?
Well, the movie was different for me. First of all, I played a mother. That's like the first time I've actually done that in a movie, and nobody believed that I can play a mother, even on our own team. And I was like, you guys, I am a freaking mother. Bleep, bleep. No, see that. I am a mom, So yes. So there were things that we went over, and a big part of this for me, with the tragedy that exists in the story, Tom did a great job on writing the screenplay. First of all, it was a totally different character for me in that I had to look completely worn down. I had to look like a woman in struggle. My husband's in prison. I'm running 2 businesses. I'm trying to raise my son the best to my ability. I'm trying to keep my friends happy. I'm trying to keep my husband's club happy. And so there's all these things going on, which is sometimes a reality in our own life, especially for women, trying to keep everybody happy. And it's just not possible, okay? Because that's, of course, an internal job for the people around you, but we still do this. And a big inspiration for me in playing Gloria Nation was, I did actually have my son, and I took a young man in to live with me, and this happened about 7 years ago. He passed away in my home, and there was this extreme guilt. I knew that both him and my son were battling addiction, and I had overcome my own. It'll be 10 years, June 10th. And
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I respect that.
Thank you very much. And I figured, I got to do what I can to get this straight, to help them. Like, we got to change this now. And I figured I could do that. Like, I really have the power to force them to get clean and sober. I don't. None of us do. Again, that's an internal job, up to them. But we can start planting those little seeds and do the best we can. But anyway, so when Devin had passed away in my home, there was this tremendous, of course, guilt in time that it was tough to get over. And Tom knew everything about my life. He knew everything going on for my whole life, right? And so what was really neat when he wrote that screenplay is he put a little bit of me and him in all these characters. And people wouldn't know that. It's kind of a thing that we know. And so for me, and I put it in the credits at the end of the movie in loving memory for Devin, as well as my uncle who died of an OD during that time too. I put that in the credits. But for me, playing that role of Gloria was a sense of
Was it like turning a page?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because that is, as a mother, how I feel about them. And the tragic losses that we did face are just as tragic as the incidents in the movie, just as painful.
How were the critics? Do you feel they got the message that you're trying to send through the movie and what it's about?
The true critics, I do believe so. I believe that we were actually blessed with, critics can be a joke. And I don't care what you critics say, you know that. There's politics. There's so many politics behind this. A lot of right. A lot of the normal people don't understand that, and that's why most people go against the critics. And, if we're going to love a movie, we're going to love a movie. If we're going to love something or enjoy something, that's our own decision to make. Critics really don't have any power in influencing like we'd like to think. But it is quite angering when you see them you write something negative, and that's clickbait. It's oftentimes, whether they watch the movie or not, they're entitled to their opinion. But if they don't structure it in an educational way, then I know what type of critic that is. Okay, so there are some critics who wish that they could be filmmakers, and it didn't work out for them. So instead, they cut down others. And so that's where, but we had some great critics write some things and actually even notice my character and my performance. And to me, that was amazing. That's like completely hands down.
I've seen many of them.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I decided to pursue a career in law because it gives me an opportunity to help people. When a client chooses us to represent them, they're entrusting us with a huge responsibility. It's our goal to exceed their expectations with our personalized service and to help them to achieve the best possible recovery to compensate them for their injuries.
That's where we come in. We come in and we solve that problem for them and really set them on the right track in order to try and get back to what their life was like before the accident happened.
Krista, I really appreciate you opening up like this. Thank you. Now, you said, and I think you touched on this topic a little bit earlier in our conversation, when I set out to create this concept, my goal was to release the pain of my journey through Gloria. Why? Who is Gloria to you? And I think you answered that already, but what pain are we talking about?
The pain with Gloria really is my dedication to being a mom.
It's okay.
And the battles that I'd been facing with my own son. He had surgery when he was 14. And of course they put him on pain meds, after that. And he's 25 now and still addicted. So playing Gloria and me getting to, I'm sorry to speak violently, but me going around to shoot my gun and do what I did was kind of a release for me, attacking those that came near what I love and care about. Same with the Devin loss of Devin,
Sort of shooting his demons.
I feel that way.
Yeah.
I feel that way.
Yeah. Did you succeed in releasing the pain, Krista? Did you experience healing through that? How does it feel to release the pain?
Absolutely. It's an incredible feeling. Everybody has their outlet, right? Everybody does, whether it's having a few drinks, whether it's a couple Xanax, whether it's I can't do those things because I'm sober and I'm not normal that I can just have a drink because I just wouldn't stop. So I have to recognize those things within myself and know that I just cannot do it. It does not work for me or the people around me. So I choose to release my pain and my internal emotional turmoil through my art, no matter what form it may be. There's so many things I love to do. I love to draw. I can paint. I create. I work in my movies, and there's even my pole performances, whatever it is. I feel that's that's a way for me to release, because when I focus on something, I do not stop till I'm done. And when something just sets in my mind where I feel compelled to do this, there's literally no stopping me. I'm going to get it done, because I feel that there's a reason for it if I'm feeling this way.
You went through a unique childhood. Can you tell us about it? Mom, dad, brothers, sisters?
Sure. I think that, who we surround ourselves today is directly related to, what we've experienced in our past. And I believe that every single adult is living their adult life trying to overcome the challenges and traumas of childhood. That's everybody. And it doesn't matter who you are. So I believe, I know everybody has a story. So mine personally was, first off, my mother was very badly abused by her father, who had schizophrenia. My mother met my father very young and left to get out of the house. And she had, her 5 other brothers and sisters who were being pretty badly, sexually and physically tortured and abused. So I know that had an impact on our generation, my kids' generation, My mom did the best that she could, though, with what she had. It was her and my dad, and then, of course, my dad eventually, he went through being abusive and alcoholism and all that stuff, and toward my mom, and we observed, we watched, and I'm great with him now. So I just want to put that out there. I love him, and my mom, but
people change.
Yeah, absolutely. But he did end up going away to prison for bank robbery, and that was a very difficult time because we were alone with our mother, but my mother was facing a lot of mental illness issues, depression, suicidal, schizoaffective, and so there was a lot of things. And so my sisters and I, there's the 3 of us, we were often separated and placed in, different homes. And I know our family didn't want to deal with us. They wanted us to be put up for adoption and go elsewhere. They didn't, so it kind of sucked, And eventually then I was raped, and I was 14, and it was through somebody that I trusted, a male I trusted and looked up to.
Isn't that always the way it is?
It is, of course it is, because they groom their victims. I mean, I understand it all very well, they groom their victims, but I was just a kid at the time. And it continued to happen, and I did attack him back because I was very pissed.
Good.
I'm like, this is done. And I ended up running away. I was living at a relative's house at the time. My mom came down from Wisconsin to Minnesota, and all this stuff happened. And I ended up running. And just, my grandma told me, that's what you get for being so pretty. You don't look pretty. So I said, F you, bleep you. And I was 14, and I just left with just the hoodie on my back and the shoes on my feet, and I did not look back. I didn't think that would affect me like it did even saying that. But I knew, because I was so angry at being violated, and I think, it's a part of why I demand so much respect now, and I have boundaries, as far as the way people treat or talk to me. I don't care what anybody says behind my back. That's their own issue to deal with themselves. But as far as if you're in my face and around me, I knew how angry I was, obviously, because I resorted to, crime just to get by at the time. I was 14, 15 years old. I needed to eat. I went days sometimes without eating anything. And I was hungry. I'd be drinking, my Mad Dog 2020, have somebody get it for me. Then there was, all these people that tried to take advantage of you, grown men and, whatever, and you're just a kid. But I guess it gives me more power in doing what I do and knowing what I do know. So, I feel blessed that my intellect is just not where I love to read and write and spelling bee champion and studying. I love it. But it's also common sense and street smart. And so for that, I am very grateful because with the roles that I love to play them with intensity. I love action. I'm a great fighter because I've had to do those things. And I got good at it, because I'm just a little thing. All right. So I got to really kick ass. And so I use that to my own advantage, and I will for the rest of my life, right? But I want to put that focus into positive things and hopefully inspiring others and being strong and inspiring other women and being strong for other women.
I am Gloria Nation.
You skip bail. I'm here to take you in.
I wanted to follow my daddy's footsteps, so I started my club, Heaven's Fire. Daddy was my strength. It was Daddy who helped raise Thomas after I was deployed overseas. Thomas, my world, my heart.
I want to work with you.
This is not a life I want my daughter to be involved in. Too much blood, Mom. Once you cross that line, there is no turning back.
I can do this.
Tomorrow, you will get your orders.
Make sure you come right home after school, okay?
What did you do? What did you do?
He's at the location. It's being handled.
Life is about courage. It takes courage to get back on the bike.
We take care of our own. All right, let's go.
Now, from your experience, you made a comment to me in our conversations and in writing that you deem humans as unpredictable. You used the expression human unpredictability. Tell me what you mean, what you meant by that in our conversations, and if you see pros to it, and what are the cons too that you see?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Bleep,
So,
bleep, 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 bleep,
you know,
bleep.
and that is a bleep, like I'm gonna be a machine gun mouth bleeping that. But human unpredictability, especially too, so people can sometimes just blow your mind. The last people that you'd suspect to do something will be on the slide trying to do it. In the movie industry, it is the most brutal industry on the planet. It doesn't, and anybody who's in it understands that.
When did it start to click for you? You know, like you heard, you know, you got potential, you got this, you got that. When did it click?
Just one day, I was in Tampa off Waters Avenue, some chick's house I know, and we were in a pool just partying all night, drinking, just like, that's it, nothing, no big deal. And I drove back so messed up. And I had the big glass of vodka. And I went to this guy's house. He's an outlaw, and he found me passed out on the floor, you know, and I had my drink like completely spilt, and my shirt was like ripped off. I don't know what I was doing. I blacked out. And he like got down on the floor next to me, and he's like, Krista, get up. And he goes, you remind me of my freaking mother laying there like that, because he lost his mother. And that was it for me. And I'm like, I do not want my sons to see, because it's not like I drank in front of my kids or did anything, you know, but I felt like I was doing a good job of like hiding things, you know, and just going out to party and doing things. And when he said that, it really broke my heart. And it made me think about, what am I doing to my sons who may not be witnessing all this? What am I doing to the people around me? And what am I doing to myself? I deserve so much better for me than this. So it was that very day that I said, you know, screw this. I got to make a change, like right now, because I can't keep doing this, and I'm going to end up in prison or dead, or something's going to happen.
Wow.
And so I walked into an AA meeting the next day. And I've been sober ever since June 10th, 2010.
You should be proud.
Very, thank you.
So you say you had dreams of doing social work and guide others through the pain of their past. Verbatim. Where are those dreams now? Do you believe right now that you're doing some form of social work? If so, how?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think I'm doing it on a bigger scale if I focus on the right projects that hit on, you know, specific topics that, you know, induce discussion amongst people, right? You know, by being able to release movies on a worldwide front, you know, you're bound to at least touch somebody in some way or invoke conversation on specific topics in some way. Yeah, I mean, that's what I studied, was psych. I wanted to be a psychiatrist. I love counseling, which is why I probably draw in all the, you know, unhealthy sides of people that want to kind of share their story and look for direction. And I enjoy it. I enjoy that. I just don't want it always to be in my relationships, you know. So I studied psych, and then I began working at a couple of psych units and as a residential counselor.
You did.
And I worked on a schizophrenic unit in the beginning, and I was working the night shift, the only staff member there. And they all had criminal backgrounds, and it was a co-ed unit. So we had everything from borderline personality disorder, multiple personality disorder, to severe schizophrenia. And I found it absolutely fascinating. But, you know, one of my nights there, you have to really know how to truly deal with that. And you have to gain experience and knowledge in that, or it could turn on you very quickly. Mm-hmm. So one of my nights there, I had a patient come to me, and they had free will on the unit, right? Everybody had their own room. They were supposed to be in bed by a certain time. I gave them their meds, like 5 a.m. in the morning, and I was the overnight shift. And I had a man come in during the night, and he comes up to the office, and it's just me there. And I said, what's going on with you? And I was like, is everything all right? And he said, no. He said, I'm having really bad thoughts about women right now.
Oh boy.
And I said, really? And he goes, yeah, like I want to rape you. And I said, really? I said, have you ever been to jail, buddy? And he goes, yeah. I said, can you tell me about your experience in jail? What was that like?
You reminded him of the consequences of his thoughts.
But I wanted him to focus on the worst thing that happened in jail, when he got picked on or when whatever, so that would bring back that trauma. And so he told me a story. So we diverted that attention away from that without me being, accusing him or showing him fear or doing anything. No, I never panic on things ever. And I think that's a skill I've acquired since I was a kid. But it was great, because then he started telling me a story, and he had gotten into it, and I continued to ask questions to lead that further into that story. And I said, "What's another interest of yours?" And he goes, "Food." Okay, let's talk about food. And then I sent him to bed. We had that conversation, but it's about getting that respect and knowing that, okay, I'm not going to budge. You're not going to touch me. We're going to divert that thought process, and we're going to think about something else. And it worked out for me. I worked there for quite a while, and I really enjoyed it. And I got really, really actually close to this client. So if that's what I would be doing, so I kind of seem to do it in my free time now. And then at the same time creating, film, movies, projects, whatever it is, doing this, because I must say, I never, ever talk about myself on a deep level. You're very lucky, Simon Night Train, because I don't. And it's
I feel privileged and humble. Seriously.
I shouldn't say you're lucky, but
no,
I'm glad I chose you to do this with, because it's just that I would not, even when I'm talking to somebody one-on-one, I keep it superficial about myself and don't want to get too far into it.
Hey guys, Night Train here, Florida Night Train. This is a video to say thank you to the crew at Icicles. Icicles. Yes, you guys did it all. I can't go anywhere without my prescription glasses. You guys crowned the market now with this product in a really nice way. Do you know why? I don't have to go anywhere with my prescription glasses anymore. These babies are prescription, available in prescription. That's awesome, that's miraculous. Not only this, they're progressive and transitional. I can't ask for any more. What's important for me when I buy something? Number one, I want performance. These are made with aircraft billet aluminum grade aluminum. You can't get any better. That's indestructible. Number two, functionality. Guess what? They're available in prescription. I can read. I don't have to bring any of my prescription glasses. They're progressive, transitional, they have ballistic capabilities as well. Number three, style. I mean, look at this. These glasses are slick. So, with all that said, you know what, guys? You pulled it off. You really pulled it off. Thank you so much, Icicles. Oh, I forgot. Guess what? The best part is you make it in America. Thank you, Icicles. You shared this earlier in our conversation, I'll repeat it. You said we spend our entire adult life overcoming the traumas of childhood. Every single human being faces internal struggles that negatively impact their life, and quite often the solutions are much simpler to correct. Although we as humans tend to overcomplicate and exaggerate our internal pain, further magnifying our own defects of character. How are solutions much simpler to correct trauma? How are they simpler? How do we complicate our internal pain further in a way that magnifies our character flaws?
So the way that I feel that we all overcomplicate is because what you focus on grows. So when you continue, every single one of us has that trigger in us, that nerve that can be struck, right? That causes a trigger to make you feel a burst of pain or emotion or anger or rage or whatever it is. Everybody has it. And I know mine personally was, say if somebody were to betray me, who I trusted, or feeling of abandonment. That's a trigger for me. You took off on me, or you were with this broad while I'm here doing this, and I was trusting, and that's a trigger. Okay, don't pull my trigger, right? Because that's going to be a problem for you. But anyway, we overcomplicate things while we still have something suppressed deep in there. I think it's when you, like I said, what you focus on is going to grow. So when you are feeling and suppressing all this pain and anger, you're making that issue within yourself grow more and more by, say, self-destructive behavior. Whether it is doing something, whatever you choose to do to numb it. And if you don't address it, like we all focus on being successful or doing great at our job or doing great at work or doing things to help others and do it. You have got to start with yourself somehow and do the internal work so that you can address, and trust me, I got a lot of the defects in my character that I know that I continue to try to work on every day. But I got to make sure that, suppressing that pain by not paying attention to it and focusing on other things to take my mind off it, that's only going to grow because it's not going anywhere. It's not going away. And one thing I learned is, this was interesting when I first, went to AA and I was working with a sponsor, and she made me actually get rid of it, get it out of my system. And, for the most part, until somebody can hurt you and cause that thing to erupt again.
Triggers it again.
Right. But it will be on a lower level because at that point you've dealt with it, and then you're like, okay, this is on you.
You're more aware.
Yeah. And I feel like you betrayed me, you abandoned me. Well, that's your mistake. Yeah. Now you've got to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Goodbye. And then they're going to live with that regret, not me. I'm going to celebrate. I look forward, I'm not going to, and I've learned about the past is over for me. It's done, as it is for all of us. Let it go. Focus on today. Move on. You're not going to get last night's dinner out of the garbage can and heat it up, are you? No. So why are we focusing on all this garbage? And that's what I'm saying when I say it's as simple. We overcomplicate it, because what are we doing? We can't go back to the 10 years ago and change it. We can't go back to middle school and stop that bully from, doing whatever they did. You can't change you were skinny or fat or whatever it is, and you can't change anybody else around you.
One thing's for sure I noticed is you made a deliberate choice to not be a victim.
Absolutely.
And to not follow your fears.
Right.
There's a lot of people that do that now. They use their past, and they listen to their past, not realizing that they're listening to the voice of their past. Mm-hmm. And they keep being a victim. Mm-hmm. They keep following their fears. And the side effects are absolutely horrible for them.
It is.
And their families. And they don't face their past. And I say they, I sure had to do some manning up, in my days, and I'm still doing that. But now you declare having never known structure, security, trust, hot meals, warm beds. How did you overcome that, and how did you learn the values and the concepts of character, family, trust, loyalty, respect, growth, and love? Because if I again, this is not about me, but there was a point in my life where I realized that I had no clue what these values were. And I didn't know where to go to learn about them. They were just ideas to me, and I didn't know how to integrate them in my life. So I went to literature to learn more about them. How did you learn about these values, and how did you apply these values in your own life and in the life of your family?
I learned those values simply by becoming a mom at 16. I learned, it was a natural thing for me. And I also believe in teaching people how to treat you. I'm going to teach people in my life how to treat me because I have boundaries. So I think all the negativity has caused me to be like that, but I in turn give back that loyalty to people. And that's a natural thing for me because I am grateful for everything I have, from the small things to nothing to whatever. And I must say, I have a sister who is older than me, and she's homeless. She's living on the streets, and she's battling her alcoholism and addictions, and she's severely schizophrenic. And I've run into my sister a couple times, and it was very, it's heartbreaking. And ironically, I was in the car with a friend of mine, and I saw a woman coming out from between these buildings. She was walking like zigzagged, really, really dirty. I had no idea it was a homeless woman, right? She's coming out, walking zigzag, and she's like beelining it toward the parking lot. And I looked at my best friend, and I said, oh my goodness, she's not okay. The woman's coming closer. And then I grabbed my friend's arm and I go, oh my God, that's my sister. I knew it was my sister. So her name's Chastity. I called her over to the car. I put the window down. I was like, do you know who I am? And she's like, yeah. She's like, Wink. That's my nickname, Wink. She's like, Wink. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, are you okay? Like, what can I do for you? And I know she was afraid that I was going to, body slam her and throw her in the back of the car and take her. But I know I can't do that. I've already talked to the police. I've already worked in Baker Act unit. I know I'm not allowed to do that. They have a right to be homeless. But it was very hard to see that, and I've run into her a few times, so I just give her money and write down my phone number. She lives completely off the grid. She uses no cell phone. She does nothing. She's a true soldier because she lives on the street with nothing, wants nothing from nobody, and she just lives in her mind and moves on to the next like a transient, just place to place, can't stay somewhere long because her delusions will set in, very paranoid. Because she lived with me for over the years until about 8 years ago. And then she just never looked back. So I think that the empathy I have is because I understand that my family didn't choose to be this way. And the people around us didn't choose to be this way. They are this way. I either have to accept it or make myself miserable dwelling on it. I accept it and do the best I can with it. And that's all I can do. But I can't tell you the guilt I felt knowing I'm sitting here in this beautiful Jaguar and my sister needs freaking clothes. And so I had a woman come to me one day, and she was very, very devout Christian, and we were at lunch, and she was dating a friend of mine, and I was very proud of them for being a new couple and all this stuff. And she said to me, well, I'm leaving him. And I said, why? And she goes, oh, God, he's got issues, and he needs this and that. And she said, wouldn't you leave? And I said, I don't walk away from anybody. I've never walked away from anybody who needs support. I said, you believe your life revolves around God and life and fate and all this stuff. Maybe God puts you in his life to help him battle his struggle, to help him see, because he loves you, he will listen. Because he loves you, he will try. So I found it really fascinating, and it just came out of my mouth like, no, I've never walked away from anybody, and I haven't. Even in relationships I've been in, they know they could call me, and I've been there for them, and everybody who's been in my life. Some of my kids I still talk to, who were patients of mine years ago.
What is life like now that you've been sober for 10 years? Give me a high five.
Yeah, high five. Yeah, I love sobriety. I mean, if I didn't get sober, I wouldn't have accomplished anything. I wouldn't have accomplished not a damn thing, So,
Thank you, Krista.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you for having me and for letting me tell my whole story.
Personally, I want to thank Fran Hash and her husband, Rhett, the biker community. I like to say that Fran puts the human soul back into the practice of law.
Yeah.
I think if you look at what she and her husband and the entire team at Fran Hash, what they do, and you take a look at the list of things they do in the community and beyond, there's a lot of unseen. It is mind-blowing. So thank you, Fran and Rhett. I want to thank Quaker Steak and Lube right here, the landmark of a biker hangout where every Wednesday you have like hundreds of motorcycles, if not thousands sometimes, depending on the band. And I want to thank Bert's Barracuda, Icicles, Eyewear, and Full Throttle Magazine. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate your support and your listening ears. That means a lot to me and to Krista.
Yes, thank you.
We'll see you next time. Florida Night Train. Take care, and Krista Grotte
Saxon.